we are somehow joining this chat right now. Thank you for being here. It's my weekly live that I do, and I really appreciate those of you that come all the time. It's really lovely to have you. I was like this close to not coming today because my nerves are a little shot. It's been a big couple weeks, and we're continuing to, do the best we can, put one foot in front of the other. Here in Maui, it's been a lot to deal with. But we are still doing what we can. Every one of us has a little part to play. And I think that's kind of what I want to talk about today is like, where does your voice fit? What feels the best for your niche as a vocalist and as an artist in general? Like sometimes, I don't know about you, but I have big time FOMO. And I feel like I need to be doing everything all at once. And I just don't have the capacity to do that. None of us do. And so we try to do all the things, and then we end up being really shitty at all of them. And then we're like, well, might as well stop trying, right? Oh, thanks, Danny. Appreciate it. I'm glad you're here too. So that is a hard thing for those of us multi-passionate people. It's been really hard for me as a person that wants to do all the things all the time, especially when thinking about like volunteering here. Like I want to do all the things all the time, but I do not have the capacity to do all the things all the time. But I don't have to, because everybody else is stepping up and doing the thing that works best for them. And so all of us together create this beautiful puzzle of people doing all the different parts of things that need to be done. Same thing in the artistic world. Like you're never going to fit in all the boxes. You're never going to be a person that can and does everything well. Just because we are humans and we only have so much capacity. Ruby Rose talks about this on Muslim music a lot, capacity versus desire. And some of us have so much desire, right? Yeah, no kidding. I know. Too many interests and passions. It's terrible. It's a terrible feeling. I hate it. Just kidding. It could be much worse. I'm very grateful that I have so many wants and desires in this world, and so many things that I want to do and learn and try. And it's hard to quell that sometimes, but we still keep going because we can't not. So many of us are here because we can't not sing. We've tried it. We've tried not singing and giving up and just doing other things that are more responsible or whatever. But it doesn't have to be the everything for you. It doesn't have to be the career for you, but you still have that piece of yourself that you can't deny. And so we have to do the thing. It's just finding ways to do the thing more sustainably and take care of yourself and your nervous system and your body and your mind and your relationships and all of those things. And I know it's what being an adult is all about, is like, I can't just do the thing that makes me happy like I did when I was a kid. I have to do the laundry, and I have to do the dishes, and I have to make sure everybody else is happy and fed and taken care of. I don't know. I think women deal with this a lot more sometimes, but just constantly thinking about everything all the time, and you get really excited about one thing, and then you end up having to ignore another thing, and then you feel bad about ignoring the other thing, and it just is a vicious cycle of I'm not doing the right thing, right? That's a constant gremlin voice for me, is I'm not doing the right thing, I'm not doing enough, I'm doing it wrong, blah 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 blah. So what we like to think about is making sure that we are not trying to do all the things at the same time. We can do multiple different things, especially as a singer. Like, this is what I want from you, is to be able to play in different realms in order to find where your voice fits. And it doesn't have to have just one place that it fits, you know? So many people come to me asking, like, okay, what's my niche? Like, what's my unique voice? What is it supposed to sound like? But I never have an answer for that, because that's something that you kind of need to play in that realm of playing in all the different genres, all the different styles, things that really connect you to your soul. And then we can find multiple different places that you feel more comfortable playing in. And some combination of that is going to add up to your unique voice. You're never just going to have one sound forever and ever, you know? Like, even people that you can pick out their voice in 2 seconds from a crowd try different things all the time. They collaborate with different people. They do little features in other genres, because they are not just single-faceted humans. They have many different interests. So, like, even Christina Aguilera, for example, you can hear that it's her the second she starts singing, right? That's her unique voice. But she can do musicals. She can do pop. She can do rock. She can do all kinds of stuff. She can do R&B. She can lend her uniqueness, lend her specific energetic and vocal fingerprint to whatever she's doing. And I don't want you to be super worried about, am I ever going to find my lane? Because you being you and not holding yourself back from different lanes that you feel like you shouldn't be a part of is what's going to find you your lane as a vocalist, is what's going to help you come to a place of, oh, I really feel like this is fully me, right? And so I think we worry too much about it, and we don't let ourselves play with it enough. So hopefully, I know some of you are wondering, you know, when that's ever going to happen for you. But the good news is that vocal training that you are already doing, the focus on freedom, mechanical freedom and opening, as well as letting go in here of all the things that we think we should be feeling or sounding like, those are the things that are going to help you excuse me, that are going to help you find your lane, because you're being more fully yourself and not holding yourself back as much. I always talk about, we're peeling off the layers of saran wrap that we've put on ourselves for so many years, trying to keep ourselves safe from whatever voices are coming in from the outside. So we put ourselves under this preservative layer. Like, we can still see out and you can still see in, but it's like, nope, you're not going to touch me. Like, we put so many layers, and then we can't move as efficiently. Like, we're so stuck in our way of this one Susan Saran wrap. I like that. We have this one way that we get stuck in. And so this work that we're doing in Vocal Magic, if you're a student of mine, even if you just show up here for my lives, we're working on noticing our patterns so that we can start peeling them off one by one. Like, oh, okay, I see that pattern. I see it coming from a mile away now. I don't have to choose that path anymore, because I've been practicing not choosing that path. I've been practicing not letting my gremlin take a hold of me. I'm practicing having more agency over my own voice and what I do. And so now I can peel off that layer. I don't need it to protect me anymore. I can let my voice out a little bit more in this, wherever you're working in whatever area of your voice, whatever genre, whatever you're doing. So many lanes I've told myself I'm not a part of. And that can be helpful for the initial, like, triage of, okay, I want to do everything, but I can't do everything. Tell me what to do, you know? And so it can be helpful to initially say, like, okay, this is not my lane. I'm not a rapper. Great. I know that about myself. Don't really have any desire to be a rapper. Cool. That's not my lane. That's a helpful way of doing that. But if you go in and analyze, like, oh, my voice it can only go up to this range right now. I must not be a soprano. That doesn't mean anything because you haven't done the training to open up your voice fully. So we don't know what your voice potential is yet. So if you write yourself off of being a soprano and you never sing high stuff because you're always like, I'm an alto because I feel more comfortable down there, that's not a helpful writing off of a lane. Does that make sense? So there are some things that can be really helpful for your brain to just like, hey, let go of this. You don't really need it anyway. And the other side of that, which is I'm not ready, or I don't, I'm scared of it, or it's not in my comfort zone right now, so I'm going to write it off. That's a very different way of writing off those discerning moments that you have in your life. So as a singer, I talk about allowing so much, right? It's a lot of what I talk about. So many people, honestly, so many people come to me and they're like, yeah, I'm an alto. I'm like, okay, cool. Have you done operatic training before? No. Why do you think you're an alto? Oh, because I can only sing in the speaking range. Of course, because you've never trained your other parts of your range, right? So we're writing ourselves off as just one thing when we haven't fully expanded yet. That felt like a mic drop moment. So I'm going to say it again. Don't write yourself off as just one thing when you haven't fully expanded yet. Because it's possible. Many things are possible. It's just where you put your effort and energy, right? So if I'm putting my energy into musical theater, for example, that's where I'm going to grow the most and the fastest and the most efficiently. But if I am writing myself off as only a musical theater singer and I can't sing pop, then I'm never going to put energy into my pop voice, right? That part of me that loves to just belt out the Spice Girls at any moment, I'm not giving that any fuel or any momentum. And so I'm not allowing that part of myself, you know? So that allowance is just shut off. It's not allowed. You can't be a pop singer because you've only spent time on musical theater and you're so good at it. Don't waste your time on anything else. This is, if somebody thoughts on this, you guys, I'm sorry, I can't. And I thought I wasn't going to talk today. Our society puts so much weight on choosing one specific thing and going all the way with it until you're 80 and you can't do it anymore. And you forget everything else. But I don't know about you, but I don't have that kind of focus. I can't focus on something for 60 years. It's ridiculous. I have so many other interests, and my brain loves to follow my little butterflies of thought and ideas. Like, what if I went and did this? What if I tried opera for a little bit? What if I tried to sing a little R&B? What if? Who knows? And that's honestly the best part of life for me. Like, putting yourself in one lane and saying stay there and hustle your ass off, otherwise you're not going to make it or not worthy. That comes from patriarchy 100%. And it also comes from 30, 50 years ago. And we do not have to do that anymore. I've definitely told myself many times that I'm not this or that because I only sit in my comfort zones instead of giving myself the opportunity to explore my potential and just try. Yes. I love that so much, Madison. Yeah, it's so much of what we give ourselves the allowance, the space to allow in ourselves. Not a linear path person. Can't follow that lifestyle anymore. Yeah, exactly. And we're not meant to. Some people are very linear, and it makes them feel so much better to just have a linear path. Honestly, in my experience, in my life, people in my life that do that are often people, like more masculine people. Not necessarily men or women, but they have this sensibility about them that's like, nope, going this way, can't do anything else, this is how it is. But so many of us are not. And there are plenty of men that take this approach. They're feminine. They see many different paths at once. They're multitasking. They're thinking about all these different things at once. I'm just saying that that's a generalized pattern that I see. So a lot of times we think of it as a problem that we're trying to think of too many things at once. But really, that's how shit gets done. Like, my husband thinks of one thing at a time, and he literally doesn't see all the other things that need to get done. And so I will remind him, and he's like, oh yeah, I didn't even see that it was there. I'm like, yeah, I know, because I'm thinking of all the things all the time. And of course, there's many layers to that conversation about mental load and everything else. But like, he literally only sees the one thing that he's focused on. And sometimes I have to be like, okay, zoom out. Let's look at what I see, you know? And so as a singer, I have to kind of do the opposite. I have to rein myself in, be like, okay, I can't do this show and that show and this show all at the same time, even though I'm really excited about all of them. And I can see myself doing all of them. And I can see myself singing in all these different genres. I can see myself rehearsing for all of these different things. I literally don't have the mental capacity and the physical bodily capacity to do all those things. And so I think phases is a great way of thinking about yourself and your interests. So like, I have a phase that I go through of like, I'm super into musical theater. I'm going to double down on it for like a year or two. I'm going to lean into that, right? It might not happen for the whole year and a half, right? It's fine. But this is what I'm going to allow myself to lean into, this excitement and this interest, and just go for it and see where it takes me. And then if it fizzles out, cool. Taking another path, you know, lean into this pop stuff, songwriting things. Right? Oh my God, I know. If I only saw one thing at a time, that would be a miracle. My ADHD brain could never. For real. And I don't necessarily identify, I've never been diagnosed as ADHD, but I feel that way quite a bit, because perplexing, it's a great word, exactly. Like, I don't understand those people, but all the more power to them, because they can freaking kill those distractions and just like focus on one thing. But if your brain doesn't work like that, why force it to, you know? And so allowing these interests and allowing these phases to come in, I think, is such a great way of diversifying and finding the different shades of your own voice, the different genres, the different styles. Like, you all have many different influences. Like, so few of us have only listened to maybe one very small lane of music our entire lives. Like, so many of us listen to pop and rock and musical theater and classical and all kinds of stuff. And so why deny those influences and make ourselves sit in this one space for so long? Because so often you'll see this with opera singers, classically trained singers who go to university. They get so into it, they're like, okay, I really gotta just like hone in until my senior recital, and then after school they maybe audition for a show or two, and then they burn the heck out because they don't want to be there anymore. They've hyperfixated into the ground, and they didn't allow themselves, because they had invested so much time and honestly money and energy into this one teeny little niche of their voice. Of course it's not going to be super fun anymore. Like, you gotta zoom out, man. Zoom out just a little bit. You don't have to do all the things. There's a balance, as always, between, yes, maybe at the beginning you want to do all the things. Okay, maybe we pare it down just a little bit and say, okay, I'm going to focus on these 2 or 3 things. But making yourself focus on one teeny little thing and just hustle into the ground is probably not going to work for you in the long term. You know, there's something to be said for focused work. I'm telling you, it's handy. That's why practice, a little bit of practice every day is super important. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I get that. And it's, you know, there's different spots to be in. So yeah, even if you are in these 2 or 3 different things, it doesn't mean that you are not hustling enough in the one thing that you're supposed to be doing. Like, that's a patriarchy old belief. We can do many things, and we do all the time, and there are so many people out there kicking ass and doing multiple streams of creativity, multiple ways of using their voice in the world. Like, just think about it. Like, even if you are a singer and you have one specific genre, like, you don't just use your voice for that, right? You use your voice to speak, to converse with other people. You use your voice to speak up for other people. You use your voice to make animal sounds for your kids, right? You use your voice to express emotion. It's not just one thing anyway. So why are we trying to hyper specialize, you know? So there's as everything, fully 100% is not going to be super efficient, and fully 100% the other way is not going to be super efficient. We have to find the middle ground, the gray areas. Like, hey, today I'm not feeling like I can hit these notes. Maybe I try this other song that feels easier. Hey, I'm really not feeling like singing bubblegum pop today. Let's lean into my musical theater side, you know? And of course, keep an eye on how many different arms you have out there, how many different feelers you have out there for everything, and not overwhelming your capacity, but also not forcing yourself into one little box, you know? So I think that's what I had to say today. Thank you for being here. Thanks for popping in. I was a little late. Appreciate you very much. Thanks for adding in your sense as well. I appreciate everything you had to say. Here every Tuesday on my Instagram, a vocal magic coach, as well as on my community. So if you are not a part of my community and you want to be a part of my community, let me know. Just send me a little DM. If you are my student and you're here, thanks for being here, and I'll see you when we have our group sessions. Oh, good. I'm so glad, Madison. It worked out. I think you were on my mind in the beginning. Thank you for showing up for yourself and your voice, and for continuing to show up for your voice a little bit every day, allowing yourself to be where you are, not being hustle all the time. Give yourself breaks, but also give yourself the, what's the word I'm looking for? Indulgence of following a hyperfixation every now and then, following those phases. Let those happen too. So just don't try and force yourself to find your true one unique voice now or ever. Honestly, it's all very, very open. So I love you, and I'll talk to you very soon. Boop.